From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on LALATE.
It's a big noontime of LA with incredible great news at home about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. In this home recording, if you're watching at 11 a.m., it's live, and if you're watching at 7 o'clock, it is taped. We're going to go over the incredible great news about your Build Back Better Act to get that big money out the door. But now a push underway to get money out through CR for stimulus. And I'm going to show you why. The breaking news today with new comments from Pramila Jayapal suggests CR for stimulus is the more operative instrument to get that money out the door. I'll explain the details in today's breaking news. We're going to go over that recon that will pass. We'll have lots of checks in there so far passed on the House side. $15,000 to start, but we'll likely have more checks on the Senate side, including that MSC. Joe Biden wants these checks, and he's ready to send them out. The programs has allowed at least $15,000 of checks, but we'll add in there third stimulus that has about $45,000, MSC that a couple $1,000s as well. And then we have all the big questions about student loan debt forgiveness, fifth stimulus also as well, heating up in this recording. But you know what Home LALATE is about. It's about home decor, food, beauty, finances, and more. But in the second half of this video, we're going to go over something brand new. We're going to go over the beautiful wonders of the cookie tin. The cookie tin is making a comeback in America. And why is the cookie tin so multi-purpose for people who simply love to store things? I'll go over how to choose the right cookie tin, why the cookie tin is a storage opportunity you should explore rather than buying storage boxes. Just buy some delicious cookies and then eat the whole box and then have your storage for your stimulus checks thereafter. Those incredible details coming up in today's broadcast of Home LALATE and Street Stimulus LALATE. It's a big, bold broadcast. I'm here with you. I'll jump in the live chat. We have a lot of fun and we have a lot of information about your recon that just came in the last few minutes. It's a big day. It's a big, exciting news. And the excitement starts right here, right now, as LA gets underway. And here we go. We go into a big second half with a lot of money today. The recon will pass in the House of Reps in the Senate in the next few days or weeks, and we'll add more checks that push on the way to add the MSC. I'll explain to you how much that MSC is. And the programs so far in that recon, a lot of money. Upwards of $15,000 to $60,000 of checks, multiple checks in this recon. I'll go over the latest details of that, plus third stimulus. Wow. On Afternoons LA, we're going to examine third stimulus. Why you can still get that money right now, upwards of thousands of dollars. Viewers got $45,000 under it the first time, but you can get another round of that third stimulus right today. I'll explain the latest details. Student loan debt forgiveness, the ways on that, and fifth stimulus. But breaking news as Pramila Jayapal speaks minutes ago about your recon. This follows the comments by Bernie and Ron Klain. What do you need to know? I'll have all the examination of all these comments, both on the progressive and the moderate Democrat side. Those details coming up. But first, I want you to subscribe. Go right on this video and to subscribe. You're watching LALATE, the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America, among broadcast, cable, and also internet broadcasting TV. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. To understand what is in the recon, we're going to go over each of these checks, which is 3 clusters and 3 add-ons, and we're going to start with the big overview, which is that there's at least $15,000 of checks in this recon, folks. And that is upwards of potentially $60,000. 3 clusters, 3 add-ons. Let's do the mathematics of each check right now. Hazard pay in cluster number 1, all of cluster number 1, passed the House. The Build Back Better Act back in November passed, and in there survived was cluster number 1, hazard pay. Earned income tax credit, the EIC, for 1 more year. Want to learn about it? It's in third stimulus, and it's at irs.gov. It's money for my essential workers. Got it in there. $4,000 of elder care, $4,000 of care for young children. The Pell Grant, $550 check, got it in there as well. The CTC, $3,600 check, got that in as well. They got in there the home repairs if you live in a low-income community. And also they got in there the $12,500 for the purchase of your first home. Wow, that is incredible money across this recon. Now, there are 3 add-ons of checks, and the first one got in there on the House side. It came from Maxine Waters here in Southern California. $25,000. No, it's a little bit less. It is money to buy your first home, given from the federal government to the seller at the time of escrow. Wow, that is incredible. And that got in there on the House side of the Build Back Better Act, your forced stimulus recon, now in the Senate. Let's now go to the second cluster of checks, home repairs and paid leave. These are to weatherize your home, and the paid leave, a lot of money. How much is this? So paid leave is if you have to stay home due to sickness or illness of you or a family member in that household. How much? $1,700 a week, approximately, if you make $70,000 or more per year. If you make $35,000 or more per year, it is $800 a week. If you make $15,000 or more per year, it is about $400 a week. How many weeks per year? 4 to 6 weeks per year. So yeah, this is a lot of money, folks. $46,000. You qualify. It's W-2 or 1099. You all qualify. Department store worker or an Uber Lyft driver, you get it. Now, if you don't work, but your son or daughter does work, then they're going to get the check if they have to take off from work once a week to take you to the doctor. There you go. That is paid leave, and it got in there. The second add-on of checks comes from the incredible Bob Casey, $250 billion. He wanted to get it in there. He got it in there. This is free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. A campaign promise from Joe Biden. Wow. Now let's turn to the third cluster, which is where we find true deliciousness. In that third cluster, we have in there free school meals for all checks, checks for farmers, checks for independent contractors, free internet, and then seniors. Benefits on both the House and the Senate side. On the House side, they got in there the lowering the eligibility age of Medicare the Medicaid gap fix and the hearing. On the Senate side, they vowed to add dental, vision, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare, which is par for the course of what we're talking about with the third add-on of checks. It's something that would come on the Senate side. And what is it? If you're on the live chat, write it right now. It is MSC. What is MSC? Who gets it? What's the eligibility? How much is it? How would it work? And when would you get it? Let's go over all those incredible details of it right now. First, what is MSC? There are many checks in this Build Back Better Act. $15,000 to $60,000 of checks for you. So there's multiple checks in there. So to differentiate that from this is a program. We call this MSC, multiple IRS, keyword IRS, stimulus check. Okay, the IRS would send it out. So who would get it? Let's go over the eligibility, which is the same as third stimulus check, says those senators. Single individual, $75,000 less annual income, you get it. Married couple, $150,000 less annual income, you get it as well. Family of 4, you get it as well. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, you'd also get it. Adult dependents would also get it. The forced stimulus recon is not the MSC is not income. It's not taxable. It is offered nationwide, and it would come directly from IRS to you. And then we ask, how much? Those legislators are promised $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for up to 6 months. So that brings us to the question of how or where does it get added in there? And that brings us to the answer right now with the breaking news of those comments from Pramila Jayapal. So far in this recording, we've been talking about the Build Back Better Act. It's a body of legislation passed in the House back in November. It's a bill, a recon bill, passed in November, now sent to the Senate. They can add provisions to it, and they vowed to, but they haven't had that event yet to add provisions in there. When would they add stuff in there? They'd add stuff in there during the Senate subcommittee. Then after they have that finished, they have a Senate bill. They send that Senate bill to a floor vote on the Senate, and the Senate votes on it, passes it. Then they have a 2-day vote-a-rama. That is how the Senate gets it done. Everything that's covered in this recording from the House is staying in there. They would just add stuff, provisions across the board. Now, what is the other opportunity to get money out to you? The other opportunity is to get money out to you without using the Build Back Better Act, using something else, or using it in conjunction with the Build Back Better Act. Meaning, we all like the Build Back Better Act, but how about getting something out to you sooner and then continuing with the Build Back Better Act? That is CR for stimulus. Now, CR for stimulus first was unveiled on this channel as an exclusive idea in December 2020. But now in 2022, it's taking a new form and a new life once again. Let's take a step back 2 years ago to learn what had happened. In spring of 2020, we had ended first stimulus. We had gotten it, it had ran out, and we needed more money. So we waited for second stimulus. The negotiators at the time, Nancy Pelosi on behalf of the Democrats, Steve Mnuchin on behalf of the Republicans, negotiating. But they hadn't had an agreement or reached an agreement in the spring or the summer or the fall or the winter of December 2020. And I said, this can't go on. A common theme was there was no deadline. So one particular day in December 2020, I looked and I said, the problem is these people don't have a deadline. So they'll just continue to negotiate but never have a deadline. What if I could find something with a deadline and put a stimulus check in that bill and not call it second stimulus, just put in another bill? I looked and I found it. There's a bill that has to be done every few months in Congress, and it takes a lot of different names, but generally understood as the Continuing Resolution, CR. What is it for? It's to fund the federal government to run the national parks, to run the federal buildings. They do it every few months. The reason why it's a great deadline or timeline is because it has to be done. They can let it roll over a day or a week, maybe a month. But after that, federal government shuts down. They can't let this deadline pass. And it has to be done by bipartisan support. So I immediately had the idea of what to do and what to say, and I made that recording on air, and I delivered the message to the viewers with my prepared answer for the naysayers. In December 2020, I made that recording. I said, I have an idea. No one's ever heard about this before. No one's ever seen this before. This is my creation only. My creation is step away from second stimulus package, a 3,000-page proposed legislation. Step away from it for a second, and let's try to get a stimulus check into the continuing resolution bill that has a deadline of December 2020. They have to do it. They have to meet that deadline. And all you need is that check in there. If they meet that deadline, the bill is done and the check goes out and you get it in December, January. Purple Power, the viewers of this channel, love the idea. Because it was a deadline, they can't walk away from the deadline and it would ensure the money goes out. But I was also ready for my naysayers, and they were ready for me. As soon as I delivered that recording, they said, that's the craziest idea I've ever heard from you, LA. It makes no sense, they said, because a continuing resolution budget bill is to fund the federal government, to give money to the government. It's not to give money to the citizens. And I immediately had my answer ready. The answer, I said, was, you're right. That's exactly correct. But you've been doing this incorrectly all along. Since the start of time, Congress has passed legislation where they have money in the legislation that doesn't belong in there. Since the pandemic started, we've had countless COVID relief bills where you put money in there that doesn't belong for COVID relief. There's a COVID relief bill right before that had sent out money to foreign military governments. There was another COVID relief bill that proposed to build a new FBI building. There was another COVID relief bill that proposed to give money to the Department of Copyrights. Doesn't belong in there. So I said, if it doesn't belong in there, then you can certainly put our checks in there because we need a lot more than those other people. We pushed. They said no. We pushed again. And then suddenly one morning they said, yes, we're putting stimulus in the CR. We looked and we realized they're putting unemployment stimulus. No, that don't work. So we pushed back again. And we pushed back and finally it got in there. A stimulus check, $600, got into the continuing resolution as a result of my creation on this channel in December 2020. It became the $600 stimulus check that Americans got in December or January of 2021. It was sent out, and guess what happened? Second stimulus never went to the finish line. Never happened. So had we waited for second stimulus with the negotiations with Steve and Nancy, it never happened. There never was a second stimulus check. The only check you got around that time was the CR for stimulus check. So a week ago on this channel, I delivered the message to this viewership of the GAN. I said, do you like the idea of bringing back CR for stimulus? Viewers love the idea. The concept made sense. Why? Because one, in 2020, we had seen the negotiations go over 11 months and no deal. Right now, we're looking at 11 months. Number two, in 2020, we were looking at two people negotiate. Right now, we're looking at two people negotiate. Joe and Joe, no deal. Number three, we need the money right now, and the recon is, the Build Back Better Act is a 1,000-plus page bill. How about we just get a check into the CR? Its deadline is February 2022. Why not get a check into it? And viewers love the idea. Today, we have new reason why to like CR for stimulus. If you're in the live chat right now, write the hashtag. It's hashtag CR for stimulus. We have new reason why to like it even more because of very, very perplexing statements coming from Pramila Jayapal. Pramila Jayapal is head of the Progressive Caucus of the House, and she has new comments today that signals we need CR for stimulus more than we need the Build Back Better Act. It comes less than 24 hours after comments from Bernie Sanders, also progressive, and comments from Ron Klain in the White House, also progressive. What's going on here? The Congress is led by Democrats, but they don't have so many Democrats by majority that they can lose anyone in voting for a body of legislation. So, back in the month of November, Nancy Pelosi understood that. And to get the recon pass out of the House in November, she had to give the House moderate Democrats what they wanted, which was a provision called SALT. It's a good provision. It don't hurt anyone. It doesn't hurt anyone. She put it in there, got done. What happened 5 days ago? 5 days we learned that the president's chief of staff, Ron Klain, is coming after the moderate Democrats with hit pieces, calling them bad people in the press. Not a good look. That was the first problem. Second problem, 2 days ago, Bernie Sanders said the SALT cap has been removed. No, it hasn't. Then he said we had negotiations to remove it. No, you hadn't. Then he said the SALT cap hurts Americans. No, it doesn't. Then he said the SALT cap makes rich people richer. No, it doesn't. And this is why it's starting to look confusing and perplexing, because the progressives are pitting fights with the moderate Democrats over things that make absolutely no sense. And as if that made any more sense, here comes this. You're hearing this for the first time on noontime, or if you're watching this home stream stimulus, you're learning for the first time. Pramila Jayapal has a new quote today. And the new quote is so illogical that even Nancy Pelosi goes after the quote. Pramila Jayapal says that as a House member, she's telling you that the senators, of which she's not, will pass the recon, the Build Back Better Act, by March 1st. Oh, that's so refreshing to know. First, what the world is she talking about? She's not a senator. How does she know? It's like asking the guy selling the pretzel at the corner stand or the hot dog on the corner stand, when do you think the recon is going to pass? It's going to pass exactly March 1st or by March 1st. She has no way to know that. She's not a senator. Here is where Nancy goes in for the jugular, and I went to as well. Nancy basically says that is an aspirational date, meaning that's just what Pramila hopes it's going to be. That's not a real date. But I'm going to go in deeper on this. Pramila should be ashamed of herself because in saying the March 1st date, she doesn't say what's happening between now and March 1st. It's not like she's saying, okay, so this week I'm doing this on it, and next week I'm doing that on it, and the week after that I'm doing that on it, and that's why I say March 1st. She's not doing any work at all on the recon between now and March 1st. So for her to choose March 1st doesn't signal anything at all. So Why does see for stimulus work so much? Because it takes us away from this whole equation. We see this equation at issue of the progressives versus the moderate Democrats. We don't have to deal with that with seats for stimulus. We just get a stimulus check into a very simple bill called the budget bill. We stay away from all this moderate versus progressive stuff, which is not in this stimulus, which is not in CR. We stay away from it and just say, send out a check. Very simple across the board. Now, on Afternoons LALATE at 3 o'clock today, you're going to see a brand new broadcast where I show you there are two other ways the president can send you money right today, in addition to the CR for stimulus that does not need Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, Bernie, or Jalopal. What are the ways? Number one, executive action. Number two, executive order. All right, let's go over executive action. First, the president has the authority to change guidelines or standards by which people are paid under existing programs. We learned that from Joe Biden in October 2021, where he picked up the phone and spoke to Department of Agriculture and said, you know what, for SNAP, I want you to pay more money. You're not paying enough money for SNAP. And they did. They raised everyone's benefits up 25%. Now, can he do that again? He can. And what can he do it for? Fifth stimulus. Much of fifth stimulus can be done without even executive order. It's with executive guidelines. All he does is the following. He picks up the phone and contacts the Department of Social Security Administration and says, you know what? I've heard from my Democratic caucus. You're paying based upon COLA as the benchmark. I don't like COLA as the benchmark. Let's switch to inflation as the benchmark. Notice what he's doing here. He's not sending out a check. He's not taking money out of Treasury. He's just changing guidelines. How much money does this guideline change get you? A lot. If he did it right today for effective of March, your benefits, if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, from December's standpoint, would go up nearly 8%. 8% more in checks per month, that's a lot different, folks. The month of January, your benefits should have gone up 5.9% because that's where COLA came in. But the Department of Labor last week or just a few days before that announced that the current inflation rate is 7.5%. I had predicted it. I said it was going to be 8%. That means that you would lock in 7.5% more in benefits starting not just this month, but every month thereafter. Immediately raising your benefits. Lifetime. Done. Don't need Congress, don't need Joe Manchin, don't need progressives, don't need moderates, don't need anyone. All you need is a phone call, and we're done. Second way that Joe Biden can get you more money is executive decree or executive guidance, whatever you want to call it. It's not really even an executive order. What is this? We saw this twice in the Trump administration. Once where he did it, once where he didn't do it, but should have done it. The first one was FEMA. The second one was SBA. How does this work? The concept is very simple. The president has authority to repurpose money for another purpose and does not need an act of Congress for it. What's at issue? The president cannot do an executive order walking into Department of Treasury, grabbing a wad of cash and mailing it out to you. This is where you actually walk into Treasury, grab the cash, and mail it out to you. Can't do it. Requires act of Congress. This is different. If there is cash in programs that have now expired and the cash is still left over because no one wanted it, the president could say, oh, there's some leftover cash from this program. I'm going to repurpose this cash for a similar relief and send it out. He can do this. 2 times this came up in the Trump administration. 1 time was done it, 1 time was not done it. The first one was done. FEMA had a lot of extra money from COVID relief. So Donald Trump picked up the phone without press, without an executive order, and said, FEMA, you have some extra money. People need more unemployment benefits. FPUC ran out. I want you to repurpose this money for something we're going to call LWA. And if states want the money, you give them the money. And there you go. I'm repurposing the money. It worked. It was a great idea. The second idea was delivered by this channel, and Donald Trump didn't run with it. He didn't do it. My opinion, retrospectively, still been the same. Had Donald Trump done it, he would have won the election. What was it? $550 billion. It's not a little bit of money, it's a lot. Was sitting at the Small Business Administration, SBA, led by Javida Carranza, for prior business COVID programs that had expired, but the money was still left over. They didn't need any extra money for those programs that had expired. I said he should repurpose the money, send it out as a stimulus check. He didn't. The rest is history. So can Joe Biden do this as well? He can, but I don't know if there's extra money sitting around because it's hard to keep track of all these funds of all these different programs. If you know the details, send it to me live on air. But in the second half of this video, we're going to go over the fun of what home and stream stimulus is about. And in the second half of this video, we're going to go over the beauty of cookie tins. Cookie tins are coming back. It's a great idea where you buy the cookies, but the tin has a multi-purpose in the home. You do not need to go buying storage boxes, storage facilities, or anything like that. Buy the cookie tin. I'm going to examine the beauty of the cookie tin and why it brings decor also to the family. It's coming up after the commercial break. Jump in the live chat if you have some tins that you keep around the house. I'll be interacting with you and featuring your comments live on air. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues as LA continues its second half on Home LA and Home Stream Stimulus. We're going to examine the cookie tin, a great concept for storage and also deliciousness. During the commercial break, some people were talking about popcorn tins. I'm going to examine the cookie tin and its opportunities across the board, starting right now. Cookie tins have been around for decades, but during the climate of conserving and conservation recycling, they fell out of favor for almost a decade or 2 decades. They're coming back really strong. And there's a lot of different cookie tins here. I'm, of course, holding a cookie tin top, butter cookies, one of the most prevalent type of cookie tins out there. This is just the top. The tin, of course, is round. The great thing about cookie tins is that they are cheap. They last for decades. They have a very great resilient surface, and they save you a fortune. Now, let's go over what's at issue. Here we are looking at some butter cookies. Butter cookie tins are generally about $2, $3. Here's the size of the book, so you can see it compared to my face, how big it is. Not particularly large, but functions great for keeping thread and needles, pens and papers, Crayola crowns, maybe your spices. Keeps really small things really well organized. And it's $2 to $3. Why go buy a storage container when you have the beauty of a cookie tin? Now, in the case of butter cookies, even when made in China, always have a great faux Dutch decor on the tin. It's not from the Netherlands. It's from China. But even so, always has a great decor. And here is one of those butter cookie tins. During the commercial break, I asked viewers, what type of tins do you like for the home for keeping things together, and why do they work for you? Let's jump back into that live chat because I saw some really great comments, and I have some commentary about their comments as well. If you have not posted your comments, post it right now. I'm jumping in the live chat. So I saw that Anne said she likes the popcorn tins. Really interesting. So the popcorn tins can and cannot work. I have a problem with the popcorn tins. They are really large and very deep. So I don't have a lot of things that large I need to store. Maybe you do. If you have things that large, then it may work for it. Here's Sandy. Yes, we have a few of those tins that used to be for Christmas cookies, and we put stuff in there. So Sandy kept her Christmas cookie tins and defaulted to that. Great idea, Sandy. Now, when you're doing these tins, you may want to get a tin that has a universal thought to it. So if it is a Christmas motif, you may walk in and say, oh, it's a Christmas tin. But if the tin is just, Holland or Denmark, then that may serve for a purpose across the board. There's Bob Bacon. There may be a cookie on sale for Valentine's Day. Sandy says we have lots of different tins. That is right. There you go. And great comments across the board. And Sandy loves this. Here's WR, and a lid that is hard to get off. Oh, great point. So you may want to have a lid that is not particularly easy to remove for certain people in the household, including the dog and cat, because otherwise they may be right in at your items across the board. So let's turn to a next thought that I want to bring on camera about choosing the tin, is namely the shape. I alluded to this when talking about Anne's suggestion with the popcorn tin. Popcorn tins, very deep and large. Here is a beautiful tin that is square. Now, why do I like it? You know what I'm about to say. A couple reasons. First, beautiful motif. I mean, just the motif is incredible. But more importantly, let's look at that shape. What a great shape. It is a great shape. It is almost like an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. I haven't measured it out, but imagine if it was. Imagine very close to it. You can get your notes in the tin. You can get your handwritten notes in the tin. Great for organization because it is rectangular. A lot of people never think about a rectangular cookie tin because a lot aren't rectangular. Rectangular is stackable. Rectangular is easier to store. And you can get more things into a rectangular shape than a circular shape. Now let's look at the motif, just because we're here for some fun. Look at this. So here has Verona on the side, and then on the other side is another shape of Verona. There we go. And then here is another look of Verona, and the top has a beautiful faux gold color to it. So why do I like this? I like this for a lot of reasons. Obviously the shape. Obviously I can stack it. But I like it because it's really blends in with the environment. A lot of people have rooms that are white, rooms that are cream. Most people don't have rooms that are purple or, bright green. And if you have a cookie tin that is beige and gold, it's going to fit in very well in the room. I also like it because when we're talking about cookie tins, look how well this is manufactured. This luster, this shine is going to stay on that tin for many, many years. We've talked about the way they process metal when we're talking about Christmas ornaments right before Christmas. And this gold luster is going to stay there for many, many years to come because of how well it was manufactured during the metal process. This is all metal process. Now, this is a little bit different. I'm not going to expect to be an expert on this one, but this one is sort of an image that has then been sealed over the metal. It's a little bit more different. This is the metal that has actually been sprayed and then sealed. So there's been a paint surface that's been put to the metal and then sealed. Great ideas across the board. Let me jump back in the live chat with you right now and see some of your suggestions of what cookie tins. Maybe you have a brand of cookie tins that you default to. Maybe you have a store that you buy your cookie tins with. I want to see your incredible comments and suggestions. Also, tell me what type of shapes of cookie tins you use. And it may just not be cookies. It may be other tins that you buy from. I'm going to jump in the live chat with you right now and see what you got to say. So there we go. There is Carol. I love the suggestion for my bills too, WR. So Carol likes the square rectangle for her bills. Great idea. There's Bob Bacon. I have a tin with a dog pic on it. It's a Rin Tin Tin container. Wow, that's great. Sandy likes it as well. I think that's wonderful. So WR says that would be great for bills. Pile them in and mail them to Congress. Hysterical. There's Tina. I keep sewing stuff in some pins and small ones and ribbons some other ones. Big ones are neat for storage. Yeah. So I use pins and needles in the butter cookie tin because they are so small, and pins and needles are circular. So that makes a lot of sense across the board. The big one works for making igloos, says John. There you go. Wow. There's Teresa. We put sewing supplies in ours as well, says Anne. So a lot of people need that storage facility in a way that makes purpose for them across the board. With that, let me go into then another type of tin, and this will show you why sometimes tins don't have to be cookie tins. So in the last two entries, we had the sugar cookies that clearly had something on the top that said, oh, that was originally a sugar cookie. We had the Verona that you really have to look carefully to see that it's a cookie tin. It's not inherently a cookie tin. And I think that if I actually peeled off the plastic label, you wouldn't even know it was for cookies. So that serves a lot of purposes across the board. Here is another tin that never sold for cookies. It's just a tin. And here you go. It has a lot of little just things in there. It has some creams on the side. But look how beautiful this tin is. It's just an old, simple tin. It sold for $10. I have no idea what it originally was. But look how beautiful it is. It looks like grandma's tin, doesn't it? It's just a beautiful paisley tapestry of red flowers with some white. And there's some grapes in there as well. Really quite beautiful. That shows you how perhaps that serves more of a function in the household than this. If you start with this and you have it, good. And no one sees it, it's the bottom of a closet, fine. But this can be anywhere in a room. Look how beautiful that is. Look how beautiful it looks with the set compared to this. This can be on the bottom of a closet, like we were talking about with sewing supplies. This can actually be in the room. So, never thought about doing that? Yeah. So when you go buying something and you see the option of a tin, then think to yourself, is this a tin I can use in the future? It is. And is this a tin that is kept so non-committal to any product that I can keep it in the decor of the room? I can. Wow. There you go. And with that, join me throughout the day with more shows coming up. If you're watching the show live on air at 11 a.m., coming up next is the 1 o'clock Afternoons LATE show. This show will automatically take you there, and there's a brand new Afternoons LATE show at 3 o'clock. If you're watching the show on home stream stimulus at 7 o'clock, then coming up next is Evenings Extra at 8 o'clock. We have a lot of great shows and a lot of breaking news across the board today. I want you part of this incredible family, so subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, you're watching LATE, the #3 most watched financial news channel in America. Like this video, 3,000 likes, and don't forget, there's a new crypto show, Metaverse Crypto, airing tonight, overnights on this channel as well. Stay informed and stay focused. Have a beautiful day. I hope the weather is good where you are. It's warming up just a little bit here in Southern California. Stay informed, stay focused. Stay here with LATE with breaking news throughout the day. I'll keep you informed about everything you need to know from left, right, high, and low, in the tin, not in the tin, or on the sideline. Remember, when buying a cookie tin, look for the one that serves a lot of purposes, not just the purpose of the cookies, because in the end, you may have a lot of other purposes for it as well. And stay with LA for more.